I also agree. It logically makes more sense.
Yeah. You only know one way.
Yeah.
You don't just instantly change your way of thinking. You have to learn and adapt to the culture around you.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and normally I have my wife, Aubrey, sitting here next to me in our videos. But today, obviously, I don't have Aubrey. I have not quite of a pretty face here, but I have CB Cantwell here with me. And CB is an American also living in Germany. He lives on the other side of Germany, and he is here as an American football player. Well, do you call yourself an American football player?
I'm an American football player in Germany. You can't say football because then they think football, soccer, foosball. You have to say American football.
Well, see, then I'm an American as in like American person.
Yeah.
Because you're playing, so it's an American football player.
I'm a Texan American football in Germany. Yeah.
So anyway, so today we have CB here with us, and we're going to do a little bit of a question and answer video. Something a little bit different on our channel, but he's coming through town, and we thought we'd take this opportunity to interview a professional American football player here in Germany and just find out what his experience has been like here, along with kind of what the world of German football is. So do you want to go ahead and just tell a little bit about your channel and what you do on it?
My name is CB Cantwell. My channel is my name. And so what I film is, currently I am doing a daily vlog where I am traveling all around Germany, and I am in a car, and I started in the town that I live, which is Straubing, Germany, in Bayern. And I drove up to Dresden, Berlin, Hamburg, and a couple other places, and I'm just on my way all the way around Germany. And I stopped here and trying to meet new people along the way and try new food and see everything Germany has to offer. And so my channel is vlogging of my daily life, and once American football season starts, it will be what it's like for me as an American living in Germany playing American football.
Something in our videos that we've talked about a lot is how Germany is extremely diverse, and how everybody, when they imagine in the US, when they imagine Germany, they imagine Bavaria,
right,
like where you're from.
Yeah.
And you've talked about like where you live is kind of that.
Yeah, you got the Lederhosen, you got the big old beard.
Yeah.
It's very German.
But you've now gone almost a full circle around
Almost,
Germany. And have you seen that like on your trip? Just the vast differences in like architecture and different people that you've met, or?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like in the States. So being from Texas, we have the Southern slang like y'all and how y'all doing and things like that. And then if you go up north, it's a little different. So it's the same here in Germany. The South is considered like the Texas of Germany. That's what I've heard people refer to it as. And so Bavarian German is a lot different than, I was in Berlin a few days ago. It's different than Berlin people speaking German. And so everywhere I've been, even counting, I was at a gas station and I said I'm on pump eins, and or eins, however I said it, and they corrected my one. I was like, you mean ein? I was like, I guess, I don't know. So even the numbering is a little different here, depending on what part of Germany you're in.
That's something that we're trying to highlight on our channel, is not just that Germany's like this one country, Germany. It's like all these tiny little parts that are all completely different on it. You can't just generalize it as a whole.
Exactly.
But what were some of the things that you have started getting used to here? Or what are the things that you haven't gotten used to? Like things that are differences that you've had to, I guess, live with now?
Yeah, so obviously the language barrier is a huge one. If I want to, especially for me as an athlete, I feel like I'm always hungry because I'm always working out. And if I was hungry, I could just go to a restaurant, fast food restaurant, like, oh, let's go get some food and call it good. Here, you have to be very strategic of when you want to go get food, especially if it's a Sunday, because everything is closed.
Yeah.
And so you have to be strategic about grocery shopping and the food you want to get. And with the language barrier, it's harder for me to just go to a place to order food because I don't know German yet and I'm learning. And so that's been a process. And so I think just how you have to process for me as an athlete, like food is a really big thing. And so I can't just go to a restaurant like, hey, give me a number 2 with a water. You got to be like, okay, can I go to this place? No, because I can't speak the language. Parking, you can't just go to a place like, do I have to pay for parking when I get there? It's just like a lot more thought process that goes into something rather than in America where you can just drive up, get something, and go.
So like we were saying too, part of this video is I want to talk about the German Football League and kind of like that world, because that's a pretty unique world outside of the US Football League, which of course is massive, or the NFL in the US. So here, I was kind of wondering, one, what was the process like for you as an American to come and get connected with the team and then be hired on to play here?
Right. So there's a website called Europlayers, and it's basically a football job website where you can put your resume, or as for athletes, it's our game film and all of our stats and information basically about us. We put it out there, and teams from all over the world are able to see that. It's kind of like a LinkedIn account for football players. And so I had teams from Spain, China, Brazil, and Germany, and other countries as well get in contact with me like, hey, do you want to come play quarterback for our team? And Germany is the top league in Europe. Germany and Austria are the two countries that have the best American football. And so Germany was my top list. I was like, I got to find a team in Germany. And so I did. Straubing was the team that got in contact with me. We were able to negotiate a contract within a couple of days, and then bada bing, bada boom, here we are.
What has like the culture been surrounding GFL or German football versus like your American football, I guess, growing up? Like in terms of practices or the culture of the team, like how is that going to compare to American teams?
So I played college football, and there that is your job. You're doing 6 days a week of football and school, and that was it. You're weightlifting in the morning, you're meeting in the afternoon, and then you're practicing for 3 or 4 hours, and then you repeat that every day. So far here, you practice twice a week for 2 hours, and then you're supposed to have a game on Saturday or Sunday. So there's a lot more free time here in Germany than you have back in the States.
Mm-hmm.
But because Germany here, it's a club sport and an extracurricular for the German players, and whereas for me as an American, this is my job. And so everybody has different stories, different opportunities, different approaches to the game of football, where football for me has been my whole life.
So do most of the guys on your team also have another job that they do?
Yeah, so other guys, their job is first and then football.
Oh, okay.
Whereas for me, football is basically my job here.
On your team, there's a cap for American players that can be on each team, correct?
Correct.
So the vast majority of the team are Germans?
Yes, or European.
Okay.
So you're only allowed 4 Americans or 4 imports on your team, and only 2 are allowed on the field at one time. So you have to be strategic what imports you want to recruit, what kind of need you need on your team. There's a little strategic behind it.
So are the 4 imports, this is kind of getting technical, but like, is Austria an import, or is it EU?
So I
EU?
don't know the exact states. I think it's Canada, US, and there's 1 or 2 other countries that are considered an import country.
Yeah.
Everything else is free game. You can bring them on.
Yeah. So maybe it's more, not necessarily geographical location, but where American football is a bigger sport.
Exactly.
It's to level the playing field a little
Correct.
bit, right?
Yes.
For the people that have grown up playing it a lot.
They have more experience playing it, so
Yeah.
one team isn't just a powerhouse and another team is just nobody. It levels the playing field and gives everybody a chance to compete at a top level.
Okay. So for the Germans playing, what's kind of their process? Is it just guys in the community that just come out and try out?
Yeah, so the players really have a free reign of what team they want to play for, but it really has to do with how far they're willing to drive. So we have guys from the town of Straubing, and then we have guys who drive 2 hours for every practicing game.
Wow.
And so I think, from my understanding, the guys really have a choice of the team they want to play for, because it's almost like a club for them. So some of them are paying to play, and so they choose a team they want to play for based on, one, how good that team is, how good they are if they're able to play on a team, and how far they're willing to travel to play.
Like literally they're paying the team money
Correct.
for the opportunity?
Just for the Germans, this is considered a semi-pro, and for us, this is pro because some get played. Now, some German players will get paid if they are top level, but it varies team to team, and because not every team, and just like the NFL or any professional organization, not every team has the same amount of money. And so it varies based on that. And some German players have been playing since they were a kid, and some have just been playing for a year or two. So it varies on that as well.
Yeah. So that was actually one of my questions too, is in the U.S. where pretty much we all grow up playing some form of pee-wee sports, especially in the South maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been to the North really to see that culture. But in the South, I mean, everybody pretty much grows up playing some kind of pee-wee sports. I played, personally, baseball, basketball, and tennis. And I played 1 season of football, but an American football. So is that kind of something that you've seen with your teammates? Do most of them grow up playing American football, or is this just kind of something that they just have picked up because it's a fun hobby? Or
From the ones I've talked to, most of the guys just recently started playing American football just because it's just now becoming a bigger scene here in Germany. Now you have the few who have been playing since they were a kid, but the majority, I would say 5 or less years, have been playing the game of football.
wow.
And here the age limit, there's a lot older group of men playing rather than back in the States because they maybe not found out about American football until they were a little bit older. And so since the level of play isn't like a NFL, it's more on a semi-pro level, they're able to play and still have fun.
In the U.S., whenever you go and watch like college football, for instance, like in Texas, of course, it's massive.
Yeah.
But also whenever you look at the teams on the sidelines, a lot of times, like it's one of the sports where you have some of like the biggest teams. How has that compared to German football? Are the teams just as large here, or are you having to work with a lot smaller of a group?
Yeah, so the team is pretty much the same. You average about 50 to 60 players. But with the thing about German football is it's a club sport. So we have the top team, which I am a part of, and then we have below that Spider 2 team, which are the guys who are more new to the game and still learning. So could be the same age of guys, but maybe the skill level is just a little bit lower. And then we have our youth team, which is basically the high school squad. And then below that, we have a flag team, which consists of youth or adults. And so it's really based on skill level and how much they're willing to compete or want to compete.
Okay. And flag, you mean flag?
Yeah, it's
like
normal flag football.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so that's something that a lot of times in the U.S. too, if you aren't aware, American football being a tackling sport, but you can also play, you actually like have a little belt on that you wear that has two streamers that come down on the side, and instead of actually like tackling, you just go up and you pull the flag off, and that counts as a tackle, kind of reducing the contact in the sport. So one of the things that's really kind of contentious in our comment section on our videos, Aubrey and I had made a video where we went to what we call soccer match or football.
Foosball.
Yeah, for the first time here. And then when we were calling it soccer in the videos, everybody just went nuts.
It's not soccer, it's football. Yeah.
So what do you guys call American football? Do you just call it American football?
I just call it football, but I've learned that when I'm here, I have to specify between American football and football.
Yeah.
Because if you just say football, everybody here in Europe is going to assume you're talking about what we call soccer.
Yeah.
And because honestly, even as a football player, I think football and soccer, like soccer should be called football, and football, American football should have another name.
Yeah.
Because when you play soccer, all you use is your feet.
Yeah.
And so, but growing up, I don't know how we got the name, but we did. So I grew up calling American football football and European football soccer.
Yeah.
And so the naming is weird, but I have to specify when I say what sport I play, I say I play American football.
And the Germans on your team also, they just call it American football. Okay. I also agree. It logically makes more sense for the other sport, the European football, to be football.
Yeah. But when you grow up in America, it's called soccer, and American football is called football. So it's what you grew up calling it. And then you move to another country, when you live for 26 years, you only know one way.
Yeah.
You don't just instantly change your way of thinking. You have to learn and adapt to the culture around you.
Football is football to me, but whenever like I'm speaking American English, like it's hard for me to switch over.
Yeah.
But no offense to anybody.
Yeah.
Like
that's how we were raised.
Yeah, it's just what we were calling it. So the American football season is normally like in the fall.
Correct.
And then we'll carry on over into the winter a little bit, into the new year. What about GFL? Is it the same season or?
Normally the GFL starts in April or May and will go until October. With the current situation, we have just been given the clear that the season will start in September, so it'll be just like a normal American football season in America, and will go to November. So it's only going to go a month later than what it normally would, but now we're only going to play 2 months. Everything's going to be condensed rather than playing a longer season throughout all of summer.
Yeah.
So the season still gets to continue, but we have to condense and modify the schedule accordingly.
Have you played football in the summertime before?
Yeah, I mean, as growing up in football, I played football all year long.
Okay.
Not in a league or an official game.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you go through summer camp, you go through 7-on-7, you go through all the training is in the summer.
Or even like 2-a-days during the summer.
Yeah, all that stuff happens in the summer. So as far as like the heat in the football, I've done that for 19, 20 years of my life. And so the heat in football, like I look forward to it. As much as it sucks to play in the heat, like I embrace it, and it's part of the game. It's fun to sweat and go out there and be all gross with your brothers and your teammates. It's part of the game.
Whenever you look at the season, because it's such like a rough contact sport, you have how many games in a season?
So you average anywhere from 11 to 15 games in a season.
Yeah, so you have 11 to 15 games to display and put everything out there that you've practiced for an entire year.
Yeah.
From the time that you started, or from when the season starts, but even carry it over through the summertime.
You literally put in work for about 300 days out of the year for just on minimum 11 days of the year. So you work 300 days for just 11 days, and in those 11 days you're only doing it for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So football is one of the games, that's why it's so respected and so well loved, especially as a player, because you put in so much work just to see a little reward, but that little reward is, the satisfaction is tremendous.
Texas football too is unique.
Yeah.
Right, and I think I've even heard a lot of Germans that are aware of the TV show Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Have you watched that one?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's actually one that I haven't watched. I have to.
So the
admit
TV,
that.
I actually used to live in the town where the TV show Friday Night
Oh,
Lights
no
was
way.
filmed, yeah.
But I mean, like in terms of like, I mean, you played high school football in Texas as well.
So I actually got to play. So for you football fans, FC Dallas, which is in the Major League Soccer league in the States, my high school home stadium was their stadium. So I got to play in a soccer stadium for my high school games, which actually was the biggest in Texas up until like Allen and McKinney and all of them built their brand new stadiums. I got to play in one of the biggest stadiums in Texas, so that was really cool.
And even the Texas State games are also played at the Dallas Cowboy Stadium too, aren't they?
Yep.
So I mean, that's just something that I think really illustrates how big football is in Texas. Is you have one of the largest and most premier NFL stadiums in the nation that hosts the high school state championship games every year, and really pull a pretty big crowd too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It almost fills up the stadium.
And then also for me, where I went to college, Texas A&M, we pulled 90 to 100,000 plus per Saturday for those games. And then what I would imagine like a smaller school, which still is not small at all, like Baylor, pulls like 40 to 50,000 every single Saturday.
People love football in America.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I don't have any point to what I'm saying. Besides, I just think that it's really
American football is the stuff. If you don't know about it, check it out.
What's happening with the GFL right now with coronavirus going on and everything?
And so everything was shut down. I thought I was going to have to go back to America. I finally get to come to Germany to play, and then I was like, oh, my dreams are going to be ruined. But thankfully, the German Football League was very proactive and productive with their communication with all the teams, and they were able to come to a solution to say, hey, we're just going to push the season back until September, but we will get to play football this season.
So that's all the questions that I have, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. You can check out CB's life and American football in Germany. If you did, definitely check out his channel. I'll put a link to that, CB Cantwell. He will be wrapping up his road trip around Germany, so you can follow along, catch up where he's been, and then also see where he's going. And if you like this video, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and that bell icon so you can be notified every time we upload a new video. And Aubrey will be in this seat next to me in our next video, so be sure to be looking out for that. We will see you in that next video. So, like we were saying too, well, that's all the questions that I have for this video.
Perfect.
So, thanks so much for guys. What? Thanks so much for guys.
Words are hard.
Yeah.